Hey everyone, welcome back to Life is Short and So Am I. I'm your host, Satina. Today, your special guest is me. So exciting. If you are driving to work, maybe you're taking care of your kids, maybe you're just chilling, hanging out on a couch, maybe you're listening to this late at night. I just want to say, hey, how's it going? Hope you're doing well. Today's episode is definitely going to be an interesting one. I asked a little while ago on all of my social media platforms if y'all could send me questions to ask. I was expecting like maybe, I don't know, 5, maybe 10, but no. You guys went crazy. I have over 100 questions. I'm not going to be able to answer all of them. So I kind of picked a few for this round, and then I'll have to do another round where I'll try to answer the rest of them. But I can already tell you that this is going to be a lot of fun, and I'm really happy that you're here. So if you're listening to this, and well, clearly you're listening to this right now, so that's kind of dumb. But anyway, as you can tell, I've literally never done this before. This is the first time I've ever talked to the camera by myself. And I'm trying to remember also if you're watching this on YouTube or Spotify or wherever the heck I put this up. You'll notice that I'm going to try to look up at the camera because I know that me looking up at the camera is better than me looking at the screen because I know that my face is on the screen, but it's better for me to look at the camera so that it's more engaging, right? Anyway, enough about that. I don't really know. Please give me critiques, comments, things that I could do to make this experience better for you as the audience. And I want critiques. So I want all of the ideas and suggestions that you all have. I want to hear about them. So, anyway, I am very excited to be answering questions. Let's see. I have to find my list of questions, so give me one moment. Okay. So the very first question I have, and I didn't put names or anything next to them. I'm sure whoever is listening to this, if you put in the question, you're gonna be very happy that I was able to answer it. So anyway, because I don't remember who said what for a lot of these. But anyway, we're gonna get going on this right now. And up first is question number 1. If you had any superpower, what would it be? To be honest with you, I wanted to do something different. I thought long and hard about this question. And it's really a stupid answer that I have. But I feel like it's unique and it's me. So here we go. If I had a superpower, I would. Some people are like, oh, I want to fly or have super strength or be able to get through places invisibly or whatever. Maybe a force field. No, I ain't gonna do any of that. Like, the Incredibles stuff. No, 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 no. The Incredibles, that movie about that family with all superpowers. Yeah, no. I have another idea. So, for those of you who don't know me or you've never met me in person, I am 4'11" and a quarter. Now, I'm not a little person. I am, just below average. And it's fine. It's fine. But if I had a superpower, I would want to be able to, you know how people can like shapeshift? I would want to be able to get taller. Somehow, some way, like if I needed to, like for some reason I couldn't find my husband in the store, okay? And I can't see over the aisles. This would be the perfect time to be able to like somehow be able to hone in that skill or that superpower, and then I would just be like, yes, I can, grow. Is that weird to be able to grow, like grow legs, but like I have legs, but like grow them taller so I'd be able to see over the aisles? Yeah, that would be my superpower. All right, next. Now that I've answered that one, kind of, I guess that'd be my superpower. I want to be able to grow whenever I want. If I want to be taller, if I want to be shorter, if I want to be in the middle, but for whatever occasion that I'm feeling, I can be however tall that I feel. So there's that. Okay, question number 2. It is, who is your favorite artist at the moment? Well, if you're friends with me on any of my social medias, you probably have seen my little bit of an obsession for Taylor Swift. Now, let me tell y'all something. I have been a Swiftie, or I have loved Taylor Swift since 2000, probably since like, oh man, I remember when Fearless came out. her album Fearless. That's how long I've been a Swiftie. So everyone now who's been like going to the Eras tours and been like, oh my gosh, Taylor Swift is amazing. I'm like, yeah, you're a little late to the show, but it's fine. You're always welcome here. I'm kidding. Anyway, I would say Taylor Swift is an obvious one of my favorites. Um, so the way that I find music is through TikTok. So there are these small artists that are still kind of trying to grow, um, and so I really like supporting small artists, and I like a lot of their like singer songwriter music. I don't really know what the genre is, but something like that. There's a few that I found. One, her name is Chloe Rose, and she has a song called Fictional that I definitely suggest if you're a girly girl. Now, if you're a dude, I don't know if you'll like her music as much, but she's still talented. She's like 19. She's very talented, and up and coming. So, anyway, that's another person. So those would be a couple of artists that I like. I definitely have like a whole list of people that I really enjoy, but I can't think of them off the top of my head, and it would just take too long, and this is not what you're here for. So I'm trying to answer these like not really. I'm not trying to answer them like rapid fire, but I'm trying to answer them like semi succinctly. If that makes sense. Trying to keep it so you guys are not bored and you don't turn it off. Okay, anyway, next question. Question number 3. Who makes the best banana bread? Oh, I know who wrote this one. And if you're listening to this, you know who you are. So, to give you a little bit of backstory, one of my coworkers at my old job, uh, I don't remember exactly how the conversation came about or how the topic came about, but we started talking about banana bread, and she's like, "Oh, I make the best banana bread," and I was like, "Oh, I make the best banana bread." So then we decided to have a banana bread bake off, and of course her banana bread was way better than mine because I may have forgotten a really important ingredient. We won't talk about it, but she has a secret ingredient in hers, and it was so good. So shout out to you. You know who you are. Yes, you make the best banana bread. Okay, question number 4. When are you getting a couch? Funny story. If you're watching this, you'll notice that this is a windowsill, and I'm sitting on the floor in our extra, I guess you could call this a study, I think is what it's really called, but we use it as a guest bedroom. Um, so, funny story about that. Literally, this happened last night. Last night, my old roommate messaged Ryan and I and was like, hey, my girlfriend is getting rid of this couch. Or, sorry, my partner is getting rid of this couch and this other thing as well. What is it? A dresser. And I was like, okay. And she goes, yeah, $50 for both. And I was like, yes, please. It is a nice couch. You guys will probably see it in future filming podcasts that I do. But it's so nice. And I got a very, very nice couch for essentially $25 because $25 for that and for the dresser. So I win. So, yes, to answer the question, yes, I do have a couch. I have to go pick it up, but I do have one, and I'm very happy with it. And I haven't even seen it in person. I've only seen pictures. Okay, now we're getting a little deeper. Question number 5. What do you think about cancel culture and the power of social media? I have so many thoughts. Okay. And it might be a hot take, it might not be. I don't know. I would love to hear other people's opinions on this as well. But what I notice about social media is that people feel empowered behind their screens. So you've got trolls, you've got people who are just not kind, and they think that because they're behind a screen, they can say whatever they want. Like there's no rules and they can just blurt whatever it is and there are no consequences for it. I have seen really, really big social media influencers or celebrities get the brunt of those things as in cancel culture, where a group of people decide, just in case you don't know what cancel culture is, a group of people decide they don't like this one person for whatever reason. They just don't like them. They don't like what they're creating or what they're doing or something like that. And so they decide, you know what? Let's cancel them. And how do they do that? They go back in time. They will, because when you post things on in the internet, even if you delete it, nothing is really ever gone. Like there are footprints or what have you, and people forget to delete their tweet, or maybe what they said back then before they were a big deal happens to resurface because someone decides, let's go back into their Twitter or into their Instagram and find this one thing that they might have said that was, maybe it's out of context, maybe it is something where maybe they just weren't in a good place in their life and they said this one thing that was definitely not okay. And so they should be canceled. That would be the reason. So then they bring that up, and someone posts about it, and a lot of people get on the bandwagon and they start to hate on that person. And essentially, at that point, it's bullying. And so I think there's a solution to the cancel culture. I think if you don't like someone, or if you're a group of people and y'all don't like this one artist, instead of going to their page, instead of putting all that work and effort in, I think the easiest way to quote unquote cancel someone would be to unfollow them. You don't got to send hate. You don't have to send threatening messages. You don't have to say, "Ooh, I just drove past your house and I know where you live," and things like that. Like I've heard that um, from different social media friends that I have, and I'm just like, that's so weird, and it's weird. It's very weird, and it's kind of obsessive too. So I disagree with cancel culture. I don't think that should be that should be a thing. And if you don't like someone, it's so easy to unfollow them, block them, but you don't need to go and ruin their life just because you don't like them. Yeah. Okay, that was super long winded, but that's my answer to that. So, yeah. Okay, question number 6. How has jujitsu impacted your life? So I've been out of jujitsu for a little bit and I've been able to come back slowly but surely, just because of my ankle. I did get injured going on 2 months ago now. And my ankle, it got caught in someone's, like behind someone's knee. And I was trying to get out and it was a freak accident, super weird. Nobody's fault. We were rolling just fine. But yeah, and I heard the crunch crunch. It was bad. So I've been slowly getting back into it. I love jujitsu. I think it's impacted me in a lot of ways. I have made countless friends through that community. I have learned self-defense. I have learned uh, I guess there's so much to unpack from it. I've learned perseverance because there have been moments where I just wanted to quit, where I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm not progressing as fast as I want to. I'm not understanding this one technique, or I'm not rolling that, or I didn't roll that well this one day, or what have you. Like just being super hard on myself for absolutely no reason. Like there's no need to be that hard on yourself. Jiu-jitsu for me is a hobby. It is something that I enjoy. It's something that is empowering for me as a woman. But also I think it is something that it teaches you discipline and respect. And so yeah, there's a lot of ways that it's definitely impacted my life. And it's something that I don't want to live without. I really like jujitsu. So, yeah, I guess those are. I don't know if I really answered that question very well, but y'all can let me know if I did. Okay, another jujitsu question. Question number 7. Gi versus no gi. Do you love both of them or have a preference? I personally, I love no gi. So actually, I started in the gi. I feel like it's pretty traditional. Most people do start in the gi. I started in the gi, and then I started doing no gi. And the person that was my instructor at the time in no gi was Joe Durkheising, and he's a good friend of Ryan and myself. English. English is hard. But shout out to Joe. He has a podcast. You should definitely go check it out. Just by the way, it's called Rumble in the Jungle. There you go. Anyways, Joe was definitely the person that made Nogi something that I really enjoyed. I liked how it is technical. I like how fast it is. It's fast paced, which I really enjoy. Sometimes the gi for me, it's a little bit slower and a little more like playing chess, and there's nothing wrong with that. I'm learning to appreciate the gi actually, because there was a time for like 6 7 months where I only went to no-gi classes. I only went to no-gi. I didn't go to gi classes. So yeah. So anyway, and for the people who are listening who don't know what gi versus no gi is when you have the uniform on and the belt, and no gi is where you don't have that on and you have maybe leggings and like a rash guard. And yeah, if you're yeah. So anyway, just to give you like context. So with no gi, you don't have anything to hold on to. You can't just like you can't grab anyone's rash guard or pants or whatever. You can only yeah, yeah. So there's that. Anyway, clearly I'm not very good at explaining this, but to answer the question, yes, I prefer no gi, but I am learning to appreciate the gi. And I think you can learn something from both. I don't think that one is better than the other. I think that preference is fine. If someone likes one over the other, that doesn't mean that they don't both have value. I think they both do. So there's that. Okay, moving on to question number 8. What is your favorite vacation or vacation spot slash country or city that you visited? Okay, I'm gonna answer that. What is my favorite country or city that I've visited? I have visited quite a few. I really liked, man, Granada, Spain was one of my favorites. The culture and like the hiking and the weather, it was absolutely beautiful. Wow, beautiful. English is hard. Um, And another place that I have visited was Budapest, Hungary. I think I've spent the most time there. I had so much fun. I love the city. I love the people. I know a lot of people say that Hungarians are just grumpy and salty. They're not. The ones that I met, I think they're blunt, but I really appreciated them. I like them a lot. So I don't know. Those are probably my two favorite countries that I've visited. Spain and Hungary are the two countries that are my favorite. City, my favorite cities that I visited, New York City is definitely probably one of my favorites, and Boston. New York City and Boston are probably my two favorite cities in the United States. As you can tell, I'm an East Coast girl. Yes, I live in Texas, and I really do like Houston and Texas in general, but you can't take the East Coast out of an East Coast girl. Does that make sense? I don't know. Anyway, there's that. Okay, question number 8. Favorite Disney movie? Oh, you're putting me on the spot. I have so many favorite Disney movies because I have been a Disney fan forever. I always was like, I'm gonna be on Disney Channel someday. Like, wouldn't that be so cool? I mean, I never auditioned. I never did any of that ever, and that's fine. Um, because side note, this has nothing to do with it, but well, kind of. I'm listening to a podcast by Allison Stoner, and if you don't know who that is, Allison Stoner she played Caitlin in Camp Rock, the Disney Channel movie that was made back in like I think 2010 or something. And they now have a podcast called Dear Hollywood, and it is, whoo, it's heavy, but it's so good, and the whole point of the podcast is to unpack and talk about child entertainers, child actors, and just what it was really like for children to act, or what it currently is, because we know there are thousands of children that do act, and how fame and being in the Hollywood and like the movie and the film industry has like really affected them mentally, emotionally, physically, all of that. Super interesting. Just a little plug. You should go check that out too. Anyway, back to the question. My favorite Disney movie. Cadet Kelly, because I love Hilary Duff. I was a huge Hilary Duff fan. I really liked Cadet Kelly, and I also really liked the Lizzie McGuire movie, the one where she goes to Rome and like she ends up, I don't know if y'all remember that. Um, Looking back on it, I was like, wow, they had eighth graders going to Rome or something. It was ridiculous. I always thought she was way older than that, and then I realized at the start of the movie that it was eighth grade graduation, not high school graduation. So that's how you know I was really little when I watched it. um, but yeah, those are probably my two favorite like old Disney movies. Nowadays, I don't really know that I have watched a lot of newer. I haven't watched new Disney movies. I feel like not really. So, yeah, I guess those would be my two favorites. Now, Disney princess movies, Mulan. Always Mulan, my favorite. So, yeah. Okay. Question number 10. Pros and cons of church culture. So, if you have gone and listened to or watched my episode with Jasenia, she and I kind of talk about church culture a little bit. Um, but I think there are definitely pros to church culture, and I think there are cons to it. So, growing up in it, I feel like I can definitely speak pretty plainly about it. So, as you know, I grew up in the church. If you haven't gathered there yet, well, this is your this is your clue. I did. I grew up in the church. I actually was a youth coordinator for 4.5 years. Going so that was fun, and it was really fun. I really enjoyed it. But I would say the cons of church culture is there's a lot of ideology that can be harmful to people of different communities, ethnicities, um, and whatnot. But I think that there are so many things that are kind of put into a closet, like kind of. I'm trying to figure out like the best way to express what I'm saying. But some cons for me would be how the church can be hypocritical. It says to love everyone and to, you know what I mean, that God is love and all of this. And yet, once someone is different than you, okay, they're going to be treated differently. They're not going to have that unconditional love that they so plainly talk about. Or if someone is a single mom and she got pregnant out of wedlock, she's not going to be treated the same. Now, I'm not going to say this is every church because that would be disingenuous. It's not every church. It's a lot of churches, unfortunately, but not every church. I think those are some things that I've noticed in the church that I really didn't like was just the treatment of women, treatment of instead of lifting women up and saying like if a woman went to the pastor or went to leadership and said, hey, this was inappropriate and this happened to me, someone harassed me, this is just an example, this doesn't necessarily happen, but this is an example. If a woman goes up to leadership and they say that, and then leadership is just like, oh, well, you must have been doing something in order to make him stumble and fall. What? You've got to be kidding me. This is how we're going to treat women, and we're just going to say that we don't believe you. And like, or instead just stripping her of everything because she decided or she thought that she could trust church leadership with this very dark and twisted thing that happened. And instead, church leadership just turns a blind eye and is just like, well, there's not much we can do. Oh, but we don't want you to talk about it with anybody. So therefore, you do know it's true, but you don't want her to go and talk to anybody else because what? That's going to ruin the reputation of the church, right? And so that makes me really sad. I guess those are some, that's just scratching the surface, but those are some things that I definitely don't think are good things about the church. But things that I do think are good. So if we talk about the pros, I would say having a community is important. Having people that you can confide in, people that you can trust, people that live the same lifestyle as you do. I think that's a good thing because I think that we as humans, we need human connection, right? We need to have people in our corner. And when we don't have that, I think that's what creates loneliness. That's what can cause depression and uh, all sorts, like a whole host of things. And so I think that the church does a good job with community, especially if it's a smaller church. I think that really helps. When trying to get to know each other and trying to have that, again, I'm using the word community even though I've used it 10 times. But yeah, so I guess I get those are a few things. I have a lot to say on that subject and it's a lot bigger than this podcast, and I've already been talking for 25 minutes, so I don't want to make it too long. I can do a separate podcast on that by myself if you all are really that interested in knowing maybe my experiences in the church, or maybe like my perspective and what I think about it. So anyway, that's a little snippet. On to the next question. Okay, so number 11, what do you want your legacy to be? Oh, I know who wrote this one. That's a good question. Um, Man, what do I want my legacy to be? I I want people to remember me for being loving, accepting, non-judgmental. I want them to see that I really tried to love everybody. I really tried to just bring a little bit of sunshine and joy into the world. I want to be, I don't need to be famous. I don't need everyone in the world to know my name or anything like that. I would much rather people remember me for being authentic, for being, for showing kindness. I guess that's the biggest thing. Showing kindness, maybe when it wasn't necessarily popular to show kindness. Yeah, yeah. Okay, I'm gonna that. That's probably it. um, but yeah, I guess. And again, I think your legacy kind of so not again because I haven't said it yet, but I think your legacy changes, or your idea of what you want your legacy to be really changes. And I think it depends on the choices that you make every single day. Every choice you make is forming what kind of legacy that you are going to have. The way that you treat that person at that checkout at HEB or at whatever supermarket or at a retail store, that's going to be a part of your legacy. The way that you come at different situations, the way that you conquer your fear over something, or the way that you um, can see the good even in the most horrific and dark times in your life, that is going to dictate what your legacy is. So I guess it's kind of the way that I would think about it. I think that it's my legacy is ever changing, depending on my choices in life and how I treat people. So, okay, moving on to the next question. Question 12. When you were 10 years old, what did you want most in the world? When I was 10, what did I want most in the world? For people to like me. I have not, when I was younger, I definitely didn't handle rejection very well. And I was the kind of person that, and I still do sometimes, like overthink little interactions I have with people. I'm like, oh my gosh, was I this way? Do they perceive me this way? Do they hate me now? Da, 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 da. And I overthink everything. I think when I was 10, I think I was the same way. I just wanted everyone to like me. I wanted everyone to be happy because I was very like passive. I think my mom would probably say that I was passive, like a pretty like chill kid. Um, But yeah, I think that was probably the one thing that I wanted most. And as I grew up and went to school, because I was homeschooled for a little while, um, when I went to school and realized that not everyone's gonna like you, and that's okay. Even then, in high school it was hard, college it was hard. It was hard because like not everyone likes you, and I think I had to kind of come to a point where I realized that like, okay, I can't make everybody happy. Okay. I can't be the peacemaker all the time. Okay. I can't expect everyone to like me because if I am living for other people's validation, what the heck am I doing with my life? So yeah, there was definitely like a little switch that just this that turned on inside my brain, and I was like, okay, not everyone likes me, and that's okay. That does not make me less of a person. That does not make me, um, I don't know. That does not make me not enough. I am enough. And so, anyway, that was probably a lot deeper than what you were looking for. But yeah, when I was 10, I wanted everyone to like me. I wanted everyone to be happy. So, okay, moving on. Question 13. What is one thing that changed your life forever? Okay, this one might be obvious. So I am adopted. So my parents are white. I'm adopted, and that is the one thing that changed my life forever because I was in a Mother Teresa orphanage. And I was there for the first 3, 4 years of my life. And if I didn't get adopted when I did, I don't know that I would still be alive today. Honestly, like I would have grown up in the orphanage and then what? Probably lived on the streets, or if my mom didn't give me up and bring me to the orphanage, I probably would have been dead, to be honest with you. So I think adoption is the one thing that has changed my life forever. And all the good, the bad, the ugly, it's all worth it to me because now here I am. I get to sit here, I get to start my own podcast and live a life where I feel fulfilled and I feel like I am living the life that I was meant to live. So, adoption. By the way, if you're thinking about adopting, I 10 out of 10 would recommend go change a kid's life because my life is completely different. I have so many opportunities and so many um, I have so many people who support me in my everyday life. I have an amazing family. So yeah, it's definitely worth it. Okay, excuse me. Question 14. Okay, if you had the attention of the world for 5 minutes, what would you want them to know? Someone who is on my podcast already or who has listened definitely ask that question because that is a question that I ask everybody at the end of my podcast episodes. So if I had the world for 5 minutes, what would I want them to know? I would want them to know that every little act of kindness is not little. You smiling at a stranger is not small. It's tremendous. You opening the door for someone and holding it, you just asking someone how they're doing. I think just small acts of kindness are an amazing trait to have because that's how we can make a brighter and more beautiful world around us, especially with the way the world is today, and it's just a little bit crazy. And I think there's there's a lot more darkness and there's light, and I think that's a good way to start bringing light to the world. I think kindness goes a long way. I think confidence, being who you are meant to be, being yourself, being authentic, that is also going to brighten the world. So, yeah, I guess that's what I would say. Yeah, I'll get off my my soapbox. But yeah, that's my short answer. I can give a longer one if y'all really want it, but it's my short answer. Okay. 15. What is your favorite Bible verse and why? Hmm. My favorite Bible verse. Let's see. It is, I don't remember exactly what it is, because I am not great at memorizing Bible verses, but let me see if I can look it up real quick. I know it's in Isaiah. Let's see. Okay. I think, okay. Question number 15. What is your favorite Bible verse and why? Okay. My favorite Bible verse happens to be Proverbs 31, 8 to 7. And this is the NIV. Speak for those who cannot speak for themselves, for the rights of all who are destitute. Speak up and just speak up and judge fairly. Defend the rights of the poor and needy. That Bible verse has definitely stuck with me ever since, I don't know, 2020 maybe. And it's one that I really try to live by, because yeah, I think we are meant to speak up for those who can't speak for themselves, and to fight for those who are, um, poor, needy, destitute, all those things. And I have always wanted to be a voice to the for the voiceless. I've always wanted to stand up for the rights of those who don't have any. And so yeah, I guess that would be my favorite Bible verse. That took me so long to find. Okay, six now. Question number 16. What would you change about your past, if anything? Why or why not? Um, Honestly, I don't think I would change anything about my past. There are moments that maybe I have said things that were hurtful to other people. I wish I could take those back. But at the same time, I think I have learned valuable lessons in those moments, and really humbled myself, and to be able to see that the words that I say to people, they matter. Words matter, and that is something that I've definitely learned. But other than that, I don't think I would change anything in my past, because I think that, kind of alluding back to what I was talking about a little bit earlier, was that we all make choices, and every choice is going to define the outcome of our future. And so I think that everything happens for a reason. I don't think anything is a coincidence or things just happen. No, I think there's a reason that things happen. And there's a reason that I'm here and I'm doing this podcast. There's a reason that you're listening to this podcast today. Whether that is because you're a friend of mine and you're supporting me, that's a great reason. Or maybe it's you're someone that I don't know personally, but you needed some encouragement. This is a great place to be. So I honestly don't think that anything is a coincidence. So yeah, I guess that would be my answer to that. Okay. Um, and so I'm going to end with this last question that someone asked. Question number 17. Who is Satina? What makes you sad, happy, grumpy, afraid, etc.? Okay. Who am I? That's actually quite a quite a loaded question. I like it though. Things that make me sad, uh, injustice, seeing someone be wronged, and there was no justice, nothing happened, um, to right that wrong. I think those things make me sad. Things on the news make me sad. Um, uh, let's see. What is something that makes me happy? I think doing jujitsu makes me happy. Being surrounded by the people that I love and care about, those are things that make me really happy. I think waking up and seeing a sunny day, drinking an amazing cup of tea. I just started drinking this tea that is for cold water. It's like cold water infused tea. And they're caffeine free and they're herbal and they're amazing. So I would 10 out of 10 recommend those. That makes me happy. Um, Things that make me grumpy, when I'm hangry. My husband can attest to this. I get really, really hangry. And I might be smiling right now, but that's because I had lunch. If I didn't have lunch before this and I tried to film myself, I would be so mad at the dumbest things. Maybe I don't know, trip up on a sentence or something and words are hard. I would get mad and probably like slam my laptop and be like, I'm over this. So yeah, eating food for me, it's a good thing. Um, for sure. Otherwise, sometimes I'll even get really quiet, which is impressive because I talk a lot. I mean, like, I have my moments where I'm like, oh, I don't want to talk to anyone and I just want to be alone and blah, blah, blah. But that's usually when I'm on my period. So that's not all the time. But yeah, that would be something that makes me grumpy. So I went through sad, happy, grumpy, afraid. Okay. Things that make me afraid. Um, Snakes, not a fan of those. I went to a park with Ryan and we were talking to his mom, I think, on the phone. And we were walking along and it's like this little path. And it was fine. And there's like there was like people there. We weren't alone, but like there were snakes that would just cross, like slither along the path. And I was like, the first one, I was like, okay, maybe that was a fluke. And that's why there was one there. And I was like, okay. And it freaks me out, but I was like, it's fine. And then we kept walking and there were more. And they just started slithering across the path. And I was like, the path. And I was just not here for it. I demanded that we turned around because I was like, nope, this is too terrifying. I can't do it. I can't. So anyway, snakes, um, dead animals. Don't ask me why. They just gross me out and they freak me out. Like I can't do it. Any sort of dead animal. Freaked out. You know what else freaks me out? This all has to do with animals. Anyway, squirrels. I went to Herman Park. If you're not from Houston, it's a park right in the downtown area of Houston. And the squirrels there are the size of puppies and not just like little, like 1 day old puppies. No, 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 no. Like they could be the size of like a freaking cat. Oh my gosh. It just like grosses me out. And they're scary. They're terrifying. I've had like a couple of them try to chase after me. So yeah, that's definitely a big fear of mine. So there's that. Anyway, yeah. Guys, thank you so much for asking all of these questions. There are more. I just wasn't able to answer all of them because there are so many and you guys are all awesome. I will do one of these again if you all liked it. I will get better as well. I definitely realize this might be a little bit clunky just because I have never talked to myself for so long. I'm going on 45 minutes of talking to myself. Technically, I'm not talking to myself, I'm talking to you. And I really hope that you were able to gain something from this. Maybe you were able to gain some insight into my psyche. I don't know. Um, and I hope you were encouraged. I hope that you will consider subscribing to my YouTube channel if you haven't already, following my podcast wherever you listen to podcasts so that you don't miss a single beat. I really appreciate you all for listening and for being here. And I am excited about my upcoming guests. I have a couple of people. One of them was on American Idol, which is super cool, and I'm very excited about it. So get pumped for that. Bye, everyone. Thank you. Thank you all so much for watching this episode. I really hope you enjoyed it and had some fun, some good laughs, and I hope that I was able to express myself and to be able to use words that were cohesive or sentences that were cohesive and made sense. And I really hope you enjoyed it and it was a entertaining listen or watch for y'all, whichever platforms you're listening and watching on. I really would appreciate if you could subscribe, hit that subscribe button, share this podcast with a friend. And I'm really excited for my next guest. As I said, I have a few awesome people coming up and I'm really excited about it. So keep following me on this journey and I really appreciate every single one of you. Bye.